Hi all, it's Ali here, and I want to talk about protesting. Protesting is brilliant. I'm a passionate protester, and when I get something in my head, I can't stop thinking about it. And if I think that something should be done, I'll find a way to get it in the paper. I'll get my voice heard one way or another, especially over local issues. So, believe it or not, as scared as I am of life often and the changes that come in life, I am one of those people who definitely applauds people that protest. I have to say, I approve very much of the fact that people are protesting for Gabby and keeping it all alive. And I understand the passion that goes for wanting the Laundrie, Mr. and Mrs. Laundrie, to come out of their house and speak to the protesters. Legally, Mr. and Mrs. Laundrie don't have to speak to anybody bar their legal team and the police. And I think that to think that they owe us an explanation is a bit strange, to be honest. Everybody wants to know what's happened, but if they haven't told the FBI and they haven't told the police, then the chances are they may not even know. Yes, they have behaved in an extremely odd manner. I can totally understand that. And they have, you know, when they went off together for a few days, from what I can understand, when they saw their son, assuming that they did see their son, they may well have said their last goodbyes to him. And he may have said, look, I'm going to go off. You won't see me ever again. You don't need to know if I'm going to end my life or how I'm going to disappear. Because if you do know, you'll feel that you've got to tell the police. The best thing I can do is disappear. Now, I have a son around roughly the same age. And quite honestly, if he came back and said to me, Mum, I have killed my girlfriend in a fit of rage. I just could not contain my anger. And I've done the most awful thing. I've driven her van back. I don't really know what I'm doing. These are the things I've done. And please, I just need some time to talk it through with you. And if they went off together and talked this through, and as a mother, I'd want to think that I would go and say, you've got to hand yourself in, or I will. And I want you to do the right thing and step up to the consequences. But would I? Would I not give him a little head start and say nothing? Especially if I knew that he was going to end his life. Maybe I'd think, well, do you know what? That's going to save the taxpayers an awful lot of money. I know that if he goes to prison, he'll be going for life. And I can't bear the thought of seeing him in there. So to say goodbye would be an absolute tragedy for them. And maybe they're in that house grieving. We don't know. Maybe they know he's gone and taken himself off and killed himself. I've no idea. But all I'm saying is that if you're standing there shouting, and in fact, Molly, I can hear you from the UK. You don't need a megaphone. You, in fact, could be well employed at the Southampton docks here in the UK as a foghorn. I've never known anybody who can shout for as long and as loud and gesticulate in the way that you do about everything. I've never known anybody. You really need to be on stage. You're completely wasted doing what you're doing. You need to be on stage. When I saw it, it was almost, for me, it looked comical. And it's not that I want to take away anything from your protesting, but the way you protested looked almost ridiculous. I'm sorry, but it did. And I know from my own protests in the past, I remember, and I understand how intense that feeling you can become and how invested you can get. And I'm not putting Molly down. I'm really not, because she's doing it. Her heart is in the right place. I remember going back, I don't know how many years ago it is now, but we had the Soham case, which was 2 little girls were murdered by a janitor at the school. Now, the 2 children were the exact same age as my children, and it was the first time that I have ever cried for somebody that I had no attachment to or didn't know. I could feel what those parents must have been feeling, or at least a part of it. Of course, I couldn't have felt the full weight of what they were feeling. Now, that was a bit of a national thing here, and it was awful. It was just awful. Now, I wrote a letter to them and said to the parents, now, I didn't protest about anything, didn't really need to. It was pretty quickly, came to light that it was the janitor of the school that had taken the lives of these little girls. But the point I'm saying is that I wrote a letter to say my heartfelt condolences to them, and that I could identify with them just because I had children of the same age. I didn't have their address. I had no idea. I just put to the parents of the children that were murdered in Soham, and I know it would have got there. They must have got, can't even imagine how many letters and letters of kindness they must have had. I know they had a lot of support because it was such a horrific case. Now, there's lots of twists and turns to the laundry case. I don't know and don't understand. I haven't been following who did what, and I don't know the timeline. But, Molly is great on the internet. I think being on the internet, you can spread yourself further and get connections further and wider than you can just shouting outside the laundry house. The other thing is, I swear to God, that woman doesn't need a bloody megaphone. I know, I've said it before, but if I was a neighbour there, I'd be so terribly upset. One, everybody can see my house, not just the laundry house. And secondly, I don't want people and the police screaming outside my house day after day after day. It would have put my nerves on edge. I'd have probably moved out. And to be honest, my dogs would have constantly barked. I'm hoping that they're far enough away and they've all got double glazing that they really can't hear what's going on. But I would find it incredibly upsetting. And to think that the neighbours actually know something is a bit presumptuous. Is that the word? But it is, whatever it is. I know my neighbours either side, but I don't know. We've got a long road here. I don't know everybody up and down my road. I mean, that's crazy to even think that they know them. You might know about them down the road, or you might say, oh yeah, they seem pretty normal to me, or whatever. Nobody knows other people's lives, even your own neighbour. So I have to say that I don't really think, and I know Molly said it herself, that it's achieving very much. I mean, Molly's not going to see my little channel. She really isn't. And if she does, I have to say, well done, Molly, for putting so much. I mean, you even got it on the news, so great. But what achievement have you got? You've got a bloody great headache. I'm surprised you haven't got sunstroke. You must have been in absolutely discomfort from the time you got there. You've been over twice. You must have spent tons of money. God love you. All the money you've raised, you are giving to support them. You're not making money from it. And I applaud that totally. But now, I'd love to see you putting your connections on the internet further. I think you could do more. I don't think you can go, you know, hunting around bushes and looking for the person, because the other thing is you can contaminate a crime scene. If you're always going to where the police go, and this isn't, I'm not talking about Molly now, I'm talking about anybody who goes to a crime scene, what you might be doing is contaminating it without realising. You know, 3 days later the police come along and they find a body there and they've got your bloody footprints there. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyway, I wanted to have put my 5 cents in, 10 cents in, and please somebody employ Molly because she's got a good set of lungs on her for something else other than screaming outside the laundry's house. Because I mean, there's also the bounty hunter lookalike, who's the woman there. She was another one that's got a good set of lungs on her. I think together they should be on stage. Anyway, I just wanted to put my 4 cents in. 4 cents, 5 cents, however many cents in. I love you all. Please please share, please subscribe. I think I've already said that a million times. And I love you all for just bothering to watch. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Bye. Oh, God, I'm stiff. Oh, here we go.